Intex Millwork Solutions RS70 Providence Rail installation. Level section with decorative panel insert using a structural post and wood mount hardware. Before getting started, please note that Providence Rail is designed to meet International Residential Code. Please check with local code officials to ensure you meet the proper requirements and refer to the installation instructions provided in the packaging before and during installation process. Post sleeve reinforcement options. Two typical knoll sleeve reinforcement options can be used: wooden 4x4 post or Intex structural post mount with anchoring hardware. In this video, an Intex structural post mount has already been installed. Please visit intexmillwork.com for structural post mount installation instructions. If using a wooden 4x4 post, please contact your local architect or building inspector for proper installation practices. Structural post hardware. Determine what hardware you will need for the Intex structural post: wood mount, knoll mount-W, or concrete mount, knoll mount-C. For this demonstration, we will be using an Intex structural post, knoll post 36/42, with a wood mount kit, knoll mount-W. The following Intex millwork products are used in this Providence Level Rail installation: RS70 6K36 72-inch by 36-inch Providence Level Rail kit, RS70 Deco 1-36 decorative insert Chippendale pattern 1, RS70 Deco 3-36 decorative insert square web pattern, knoll post 36/42 36-inch structural knoll post mount, knoll mount W mounting hardware for wood or composite application for knoll post 36/42, knoll 5EX extruded 5 square inch by 48 inch knoll post sleeve with adjustable shims, IMPC 5-inch injection molded pyramid cap for knoll 5EX, IMTR 5-inch injection molded trim ring for knoll 5EX. Before getting started, be sure to have the following items: battery powered 14 volt or higher or corded drill, non-impact, 1/8 inch drill bit, 3/16 inch drill bit, number 2 square driver bit, 5/16 inch nut driver bit, latex caulk, scrap board 3/4 inch thick, tape measure, level, and speed square, bar of soap or wax, and a chop saw with blades to cut both CPVC and aluminum. To begin installing your Intex Millwork Providence Rail system, start by sliding the knoll wrap over the post. Measure and mark the knoll wrap based on your rail system height. Trim the knoll wrap to the appropriate measurements you've marked based on your rail system height. Set aside the excess knoll wrap material. Slide the trimmed knoll wrap over the post. Next, slide the trim ring over the post and down to the base. Begin dry fitting a piece of scrap board by scribing the post location from the bottom rail and checking that the mark lines up the same at the top. Use the marking to cut the scrap board, then dry fit it into place to make sure your cut measurements are correct. Using the scrap board, transfer lines onto one of the aluminum reinforcement sections. Measure 5/16 inch back from the transfer lines and mark the cut line on the aluminum reinforcement section to allow space for the end brackets. Repeat these two steps on the remaining aluminum reinforcement section. Before cutting, double check your measurements with the scrap board. Cut the top and bottom aluminum sections to length. Before installing the aluminum end brackets, score the rail bracket screws, labeled A in the installation instructions, through a bar of soap or wax to help easily guide the screws through the aluminum. Set the drill chuck to 15 or 16 and install the end brackets slowly to ensure the screws do not strip or break. Do not use an impact driver. Repeat these steps on each end of the cut aluminum. Next, measure 1 inch from each end of the bottom aluminum to mark for weep holes. Using a 3/16 inch drill bit, drill the holes on each end of the bottom aluminum. Mark the center of the bottom aluminum for the crush block. Using a 3/16 inch drill bit, drill a hole through the center mark. On the crush block, mark the center point and pre-drill a hole using a 2.5 inch baluster screw, labeled C in the installation instructions. Install the crush block. Note that the 4-inch crush block can be trimmed down to 3 inches and still maintain a 36-inch installed rail height. Using the bottom aluminum with the crush block installed, dry fit the aluminum section. After the crush block height is determined, use the excess pieces of the Intex Knoll wrap as cheater blocks by trimming the pieces to the same height as the crush block. Mark the post to center the bracket on the post face. When installing to wood, use the rail attachment screws supplied with the Providence Rail Kit, labeled B in the installation instructions. When installing to a post mount, use the number 10 by 1.5 inch hex head screws supplied with the structural knoll post mount. Measure and mark the length of the top and bottom rails, transferring the marks around the entirety of the profile. Cut the top and bottom rails to length. To prevent cutting mistakes, trim the top and bottom rail slightly longer than your markings. Dry fit the cut bottom and top rails to ensure accuracy, trimming if needed. Then, remove the dry fit rails to begin installing the Deco panel. Measure the Deco panel and mark the center on both the top and bottom. Align the Deco panel to the center of the measured and cut rail section. Drive 2.5 inch baluster screws, labeled C in the installation instructions, into the left and right alignment of the Deco panel. Do not use the dimpling holes when installing a Deco panel. Drive a 1.5 inch baluster lock screw, labeled D in the installation instructions, into the center point. Drive additional baluster lock screws into each side of the center point for additional security. Enough balusters need to be installed on either side of the Deco panel to ensure that no openings are 4 inches or greater. For this demonstration, only 1 baluster is needed on each side. Please refer to the installation instructions as well as your local building inspector to properly space your baluster infill. To install the balusters, slowly drill the baluster screws, labeled C in the installation instructions, through the rail until the tip of the screw projects about 1/8 of an inch. Using a 3/4 inch thick spacer board, line the dimple of the baluster up to the projected screw tip and drive the screw all the way through. Repeat on the remaining balusters. To install the top rail section to the Deco panel, repeat these steps, starting with driving the 2.5 inch baluster screw into the left and right alignments. Fit the assembled rail section into place, securing it onto the previously installed bottom aluminum. Slide the previously cut aluminum into the top rail profile. When installing to wood, use rail attachment screws supplied with the Providence Rail Kit, labeled B in the installation instructions. When installing to a post mount, use the number 10 by 1.5 inch hex head screws supplied with the structural knoll post mount. Before securing the top cap, apply latex caulk. Fit the top cap back into place and secure. Apply latex caulk to the 4 tabs on the inside of the knoll cap and install the knoll cap to finish. Thank you for watching. Please visit intexmillwork.com for more information on our additional product lines or for more assistance.